right up for me, guys.
What if I told you the wildest custom Corvette ever put on film started life as a totaled piece of junk headed for the crusher? Picture this. A rear-ended wreck sitting in a salvage yard becomes one of the most controversial, love it or hate it movie cars in Hollywood history. Today we're counting down 20 weird facts about Kenny's 1973 custom Vette from Corvette Summer. A car so outrageous that Corvette purists still argue about whether it should exist. From right-hand drive conversions using motorcycle chains to paint jobs that literally glowed like a sunset, this thing broke every rule in the Corvette Bible. And Mark Hamill drove it between Star Wars movies, so hit that subscribe button and prepare yourself, because we're about to dive into the absolutely insane story of cinema's most polarizing sports car. Number 20. Rescued from a junkyard. The star car of Corvette Summer didn't roll off the assembly line in Bowling Green. It didn't come from a wealthy collector. It came from a junkyard. A totaled rear-ended 1973 Stingray that was basically waiting to be crushed. MGM's producers needed a Corvette they could destroy guilt-free. No way they were hacking up a pristine example. So they went shopping in salvage yards, found this wreck that had been smashed hard in the rear, frame damage, body damage, mechanically questionable, perfect. They bought it cheap, really cheap. This wasn't about preserving automotive history, this was about creating something nobody had ever seen before. Something that would make Corvette purists scream. The irony is beautiful. A car that was essentially dead became more famous than most pristine Corvettes ever will. From scrap metal to movie star. The ultimate automotive resurrection story. Think about all the perfect 73 Corvettes sitting in climate-controlled garages. Babied, preserved, never driven hard. Meanwhile, this junkered wreck gets transformed into something unforgettable. Gets driven by Luke Skywalker himself. Becomes a pop culture icon. Sometimes the best canvas for art is something already broken. Number 19. Built by Korky's Kustom Studios. Dick Korky's ran Korky's Kustom Studios in North Hollywood. This wasn't some backyard operation. Korky's had serious credentials, built cars for movies, television, celebrities. When MGM needed someone to turn their junked Corvette into something spectacular, they called Korky's. Korky's looked at that wrecked 73 and saw potential, not to restore it, to completely reimagine it, make it something that had never existed before. A Corvette that didn't look like any Corvette. The build took months, every panel modified or replaced, custom molds created, fiberglass laid by hand. This wasn't a bolt-on body kit situation, this was sculpture, automotive art, controversial art, but art nonetheless. Korky and his team basically kept the Corvette's skeleton and built an entirely new creature around it. The windshield stayed, the basic chassis remained. Everything else pure custom fabrication. The shop documented everything, photos of the build process, the destroyed car becoming something else entirely. These images are gold now. Show the transformation from wreck to wild custom. Korky's created something that made people angry, made people excited, made people talk. 50 years later, they're still talking. That's successful custom work. Number 18. 2 near-twin cars used. Here's what most people don't know. There wasn't just one Corvette Summer car. There were 2 near-identical customs built for different purposes. The main hero car for filming, and a backup for promotion and display. Standard Hollywood practice, but with a twist. Building one of these wild customs was insane enough. Building 2, that's commitment, or madness, maybe both. Each car had the same outrageous bodywork, same paint scheme, same interior modifications, same right-hand drive setup. To the casual observer, they were identical, but they weren't. Small differences if you knew where to look, different engine setups, slightly different interior details, minor trim variations. The backup car did most of the car show circuit while the hero car was filming. This kept the movie car from getting damaged by crowds and transportation. Smart logistics for such radical custom work. After filming, the cars went separate ways, different owners, different continents eventually. One ended up in Australia, the other stayed stateside. Both claimed to be the Corvette Summer car. Both were right, technically. This has created confusion for decades. Which car is the real one? They both are. Hollywood magic means sometimes there's more than one star. Number 17. Right-hand drive on purpose. This might be the weirdest modification of all. They moved the steering wheel to the right side in America, where we drive on the right, making right-hand drive completely impractical. But there was movie logic behind this insanity. Kenny, Mark Hamill's character, needed to talk to people on the sidewalk, flirt with girls at the curb, have conversations while driving slowly through Vegas. With normal left-hand drive, he'd be talking across an empty passenger seat, looked awkward on camera, so they moved everything to the right. Now, Kenny could lean out his window, chat directly with pedestrians, made for better shots, better dialogue scenes, better visual comedy. The modification was extensive. This wasn't just moving the wheel. The entire dash had to be reconfigured, pedals relocated, instruments moved, everything mirror imaged. Driving it on actual streets was terrifying. Imagine trying to make a left turn from the right seat. Can't see oncoming traffic, can't judge distances properly. Pure nightmare fuel. But on camera, it worked perfectly. Kenny could cruise the strip, window down, interacting with the world directly. The right-hand drive became part of the car's character. Another thing that made it weird, different, wrong in all the right ways. Number 16. Chain drive steering hack. Moving the steering wheel to the right created a massive engineering problem. How do you connect a right-side steering wheel to a left-side steering box? Dick Corks came up with a solution straight out of a motorcycle shop. Chains and sprockets. Like a Harley-Davidson primary drive. A heavy-duty roller chain connected sprockets on the steering column to sprockets on the steering box input. Turn the wheel on the right, chain drives the box on the left. Genius. Terrifying. Probably not very precise, but it worked. The chain system was hidden under the dash. Most people watching the movie had no idea how sketchy the steering setup really was. This wasn't some sophisticated engineering solution. This was hot rod problem solving at its most creative. The chain needed constant adjustment, stretched over time, made noise, required lubrication. Imagine driving at highway speeds knowing your steering was dependent on a motorcycle chain not braking, but for a movie car that mostly did slow cruise scenes. Perfect, cheap, effective, got the job done. This kind of makeshift engineering is what makes movie cars so interesting. Real-world solutions to impossible problems. Make it work, make it safe enough, move on to the next challenge. Number 15. Clamshell flip hood. The entire front end hinged forward like a clamshell. One piece, nose cone, hood, everything. Flip it open to access the engine. This was 1978, 6 years before the C4 Corvette made clamshell hoods factory equipment. Korky's was ahead of the curve. The engineering was complex. The whole front clip had to be strengthened to work as one unit, heavy-duty hinges at the front, hydraulic struts to hold it open, latches to keep it closed at speed. When opened, it looked like the car was eating something, or screaming. Dramatic, theatrical, perfect for a movie car. The clamshell made engine access amazing. Everything exposed. No reaching around fenders, no squeezing past obstacles, just flip the front open, and there's your small block. Practical for a Kustom that probably needed constant attention. The problem was weight. That entire front assembly was heavy, really heavy. The hydraulic struts had to be massive to hold it up. If they failed, that clamshell could crush whatever or whoever was underneath. But man, did it look cool. Every time Kenny opened that hood in the movie, it was an event, a statement. This wasn't just a car, it was a transformer. Number 14. 9 fake scoops. Count the scoops, vents, and air intakes on this thing. 9. 9 different openings that looked functional, but mostly weren't. They were pure theater. Visual aggression, making the car look like it needed massive airflow. The hood had multiple scoops, the sides had vents, the rear quarters had intakes. Every surface interrupted by some kind of opening. Drama for drama's sake. Maybe one sake. Maybe. Or two actually did something. Brought air to the engine, cooled the brakes. The rest? Just holes. Channels to nowhere. Decorative disruptions in the fiberglass. But they worked visually. Made the car look fast standing still, like it was inhaling the atmosphere. Consuming oxygen, needed all those vents just to survive. This was 70s Kustom car philosophy. More is more. If one scoop looks good, 9 looks 9 times better. Subtlety was not the goal. The fake scoops also helped disguise the Corvette origins, broke up the familiar lines, made it harder to identify the donor car underneath all that custom work. Every scoop was hand-formed, molded into the fiberglass, not just stuck on, integrated into the design. Even if they didn't work, they were beautifully executed fake function. Number 13. Glitter-laden paint stack. The paint job on this car was absolutely insane, not just a color, a complete paint system, multiple layers creating depth and glow that changed depending on the light. Started with a metal flake base, not subtle flake either. Big, chunky metal flakes that caught light like tiny mirrors. Then came translucent layers. Red, orange, gold, each one adding depth, building color, creating that sunset effect. The paint literally glowed in sunlight. Looked like the car was on fire, or radioactive, or both. Impossibly bright, impossible to ignore. This wasn't a respray you could do in your garage. This was specialized custom paint requiring perfect conditions. Clean room, professional spray booth, multiple sessions. Each layer had to cure perfectly before the next. The final clear coat was thick, really thick, like glass. Protected all those delicate translucent layers underneath, made the paint look wet permanently. The paint job alone probably cost more than the crashed Corvette they started with, but it was the paint that made the car unmistakable. That sunset glow became the car's signature. You could spot it from blocks away. Subtle was not in the vocabulary. This was look at me paint. Mission accomplished. Number 12. No bumpers front or rear. Corvette people lost their minds about this. No bumpers. None. Federal safety standards required bumpers. Corvette design language included bumpers. This thing had neither. The front end was just smooth fiberglass flowing down to a point. No protection, no 5-amp impact protection, nothing. The rear was the same story. Smooth fiberglass, no bumper, no protection, just vulnerable, custom bodywork. This made the car technically illegal for street use. Couldn't register it in most states, couldn't get insurance, couldn't legally drive it anywhere except movie sets. MGM didn't care. This was a movie car. Laws were irrelevant. The missing bumpers made the car look longer, sleeker, more radical. Eliminated visual interruptions in the design. Let those wild curves flow uninterrupted. For filming, it was perfect. No chrome to cause reflections. No gaps to worry about in close-ups. Clean. Lines for the camera. After filming, any owner wanting to actually drive it faced a problem. Add bumpers and ruin the look, or keep it illegal and trailer it everywhere. Most chose the trailer. The car was too radical to compromise. Better to preserve the original shocking design than make it street legal. Number 11. Square Caprice headlights. Pop-up headlights are sacred to Corvette people. They're part of the car's identity. Hidden eyes that open when needed. Dramatic, distinctive. Corvette. So naturally, Korky's deleted them entirely, replaced them with fixed square headlights. 4 rectangular sealed beams mounted in the custom nose. The kind you'd find on a Chevy Caprice. Not a Corvette. This was heresy to purists. You don't put sedan headlights on America's sports car. But the square lights worked with the radical nose design, fit the angular theme, matched the straight edge aesthetic of late 70s custom work. The fixed lights also solved a problem. Pop-ups wouldn't work with that radical nose cone, no room for the mechanisms, no way to integrate them cleanly. So they went with simple, functional, wrong. The square lights gave the car a face, an expression, looked like eyes, angry eyes, staring, challenging, aggressive. They also worked better for filming, always visible, no waiting for motors to raise lights, no mechanical failures during crucial shots, just flip a switch and they're on. Sometimes the wrong choice is the right choice. Those square headlights became part of the car's bizarre charm, another violation of Corvette law that somehow worked. Number 10. Side pipes as rockers. The exhaust system was pure custom insanity. Instead of normal side pipes that stick out from the car, these were integrated into the rocker panels, became part of the bodywork, protected and visual at the same time. The pipes ran from the engine, under the car, then merged into long mufflers built into the rockers, ahead of the doors, under the body line. Visible, but not protruding. This took serious fabrication. The rockers had to be modified to accept the mufflers. Heat shielding added to protect the fiberglass. Everything custom fitted. The result looked factory, like GM might have designed it, if GM's designers had been doing serious drugs. The integrated pipes gave the car a lower, wider appearance, nothing sticking out to break the lines. Everything flowing together. The exhaust note was interesting too, muffled but not quiet. A rumble you felt more than heard. The heat from those rocker-mounted mufflers was intense. Stand next to the car while it was running, and you'd feel it. Probably not great for the fiberglass long-term, but for a movie car with a limited lifespan, perfect. Another detail that made this Corvette unlike any other. Number 9. Western turbine wheels. The wheels made the whole thing work. Western turbine mags, period-correct finned aluminum wheels that screamed late 70s custom. Not Corvette rally wheels. Not classic Cragars. Something different, something that matched the car's radical personality. These weren't subtle wheels, big fins, polished aluminum, deep dish. They caught light, drew attention, made the car look like it was moving even when parked. The bolt pattern was standard Corvette, but nothing else about them said Corvette. They said custom, street machine, something built in a garage by someone with wild taste. The turbines also photographed beautifully. The fins created interesting shadows, caught highlights, gave photographers and cinematographers something to work with. In motion, they created a blurred disc effect, made the car look faster on film. After the movie, these specific wheels became collectible. People wanted Western turbines for their own custom builds. The Corvette Summer car had made them famous. Original Western turbines from this era now sell for serious money. Another case of a movie car influencing the market, making specific parts suddenly desirable. The wheels completed the look. Without them, the car would have seemed unfinished. With them, it was perfectly wrong. Number 8, T-top border trick. The T-tops got a special treatment that most people never noticed. A painted perimeter band around each removable panel made them blend visually with the body, minimized the appearance of the seams, made the roof look more integrated. This was subtle compared to everything else on the car, but it showed the attention to detail. Even the roof needed to be special, different, custom. The painted border was probably the most factory-looking modification on the entire car. Something GM might have actually done, if they'd been building custom Corvettes for Vegas players, which they weren't, but it worked, made the T-tops look intentional, part of the design, not just removable panels, but design elements. When the tops were out, the car looked right. When they were in, it looked complete. No awkward transitions, no obvious seams. The border trick also helped with filming, reduced reflections along the roof seams, made lighting easier, prevented those harsh shadow lines that could ruin a shot. Small details matter in movie cars. This tiny modification probably saved hours of setup time, made the cinematographer's job easier. Another example of form following function, even when the form was completely insane. Number 7, interior dye job. The interior started life as saddle tan, standard 70s, Corvette color. Looked great in a stock Corvette. Looked wrong in this wild custom. So they dyed it, all of it, black, every surface, seats, door panels, dash, carpet, everything. This wasn't a professional reupholstery job. This was literally dyeing the existing materials black. Cheaper, faster, good enough for a movie car. The black interior worked better on camera, didn't reflect light into the actors' faces, didn't compete with the wild exterior, became a neutral background for dialogue scenes. The dye job wasn't perfect. Up close you could tell. See the original color in the cracks, under the piping, where the dye didn't penetrate completely. But on film, looked fine. The black interior also made the car feel more sinister, more serious. The saddle tan would have been too cheerful, too stock, too normal for this radical machine. After filming, the dye started wearing off in places. High contact areas showed the original tan underneath, like the car was slowly revealing its true identity. The interior became a metaphor for the whole car. Something ordinary transformed into something extraordinary through pure determination and a lot of black dye. Number 6. Started as a mild L48. Under all that custom madness was a pretty ordinary engine, the L48 350 small block. Base Corvette motor for 1973, 190 horsepower, mild cam, small carburetor, nothing special, matched to a TH350 automatic, standard, reliable, boring. This wasn't about performance. The movie car didn't need to be fast, just needed to run reliably, take after take, day after day. No temperamental race engine, no finicky carburetors, just a basic small block that started every time. The irony is delicious. All that visual aggression, all those scoops and vents suggesting massive power, and underneath, a completely stock motor that any mechanic could work on. But it sounded good. Looked good on camera when they opened that clamshell hood. Filled the engine bay adequately. That's all that mattered. Later, for car shows, they'd upgrade, add performance parts, make it match the visual promise. But for filming, that mild L48 was perfect, started every time, idled smoothly for dialogue scenes, didn't overheat in Vegas traffic. Sometimes boring is exactly what you need, even in the wildest custom Corvette ever built. Number 5, later dual quad tunnel ram. After filming, someone decided the car needed more visual impact under the hood, as if it wasn't already enough, so they added a tunnel ram intake. Dual quad carburetors, Twin Holly 4 barrels sitting up high. Pure drag strip jewelry. This was for show, not go. That tunnel ram setup was completely wrong for street driving. No low-end torque. Terrible throttle response. Probably ran like garbage. But it looked incredible. When they opened that clamshell hood at car shows, people gasped. 2 massive carburetors, chrome air cleaners, braided fuel lines. It looked like something from a pro-stock drag car. The tunnel ram also made the car even less streetable, if that was possible. Now it really couldn't be driven normally, but for static display, perfect. Gave people something to photograph, something to talk about, made the engine match the outrageous body. The modification showed how the car evolved after filming, became more extreme, more show car than movie car. The tunnel ram is gone now on some versions, back to single 4-barrel. But for a while, this thing wore the most impractical intake system possible. Because why not? Everything else about it was impractical too. Number 4. Mold survives in a museum. Here's something incredible. The original body mold still exists, sits in the National Corvette Museum. This massive fiberglass tool that created that radical body. Preserved, protected, displayed. Think about what this means. You could theoretically build another one. Create an exact duplicate of that insane bodywork. The mold is the master. The source. The thing that made it possible. Most movie car molds get destroyed, thrown away, take up too much space. Nobody thinks to preserve them. But someone saved this one, recognized its importance, its place in Corvette history. Even if it represents everything Corvette purists hate, the museum displaying it is even more interesting. The National Corvette Museum, the Temple of Corvette Orthodoxy, displaying the mold for the most heretical Corvette ever built. It's like the Vatican displaying plans for a disco. But they recognize its significance, its impact on popular culture, its place in Corvette history, even if it's the weird uncle nobody talks about. The mold is massive, shows every curve, every scoop, every detail of that radical design. A piece of movie history, automotive history, sitting in Bowling Green, Kentucky, waiting, just in case someone wants to build another one. Number 3. One car went overseas. After the movie, the 2 cars went very different directions, literally opposite sides of the planet. The main car ended up in Australia, the other stayed in America. How does a custom Corvette end up in Australia? Someone down under wanted it bad enough to deal with shipping, import duties, right-hand drive conversion. Wait, it was already right-hand drive. Perfect for Australia, maybe that's why it went there. Finally, a country where the steering wheel was on the correct side. The car was modified in Australia, changed, improved, according to whoever owned it. Different wheels, different engine setup, painted different colors over the years, each owner making it their own. Meanwhile, the backup car stayed stateside, bounced around collectors, appeared at shows, tried to maintain its movie appearance. 2 twins living completely different lives. The Australian car became a mystery, dropped off the radar for years. People wondered if it still existed. Had it been destroyed, hidden, parted out? Then it would surface at a show. Someone would photograph it, prove it still lived, still wild, still wrong. 2 cars, 2 continents, 2 different fates, but both carrying the same DNA, the same outrageous design that made people stop and stare. Number 2. Volo auction buzz. A few years ago, Volo Auto Museum listed a Corvette Summer car for sale. The internet went insane. Was this the real car, the actual movie car, or another replica? The confusion was immediate and intense. Turns out it was a promotional car, built for displays, car shows, not the actual film car, but related, connected, part of the story. But people didn't care about details. They saw a Corvette Summer car for sale and lost their minds. Bidding was fierce. Collectors who remembered the movie, younger enthusiasts who recognized the design. Everyone wanted a piece of that 70s excess. The sale highlighted how confused the history had become. Multiple cars, multiple claims, multiple versions of the truth. Which was real? Which was authentic? Did it matter? The Volo car proved something important. People still cared. 40 plus years later, that radical design still triggered reactions. Love or hate, you couldn't ignore it. The auction buzz also revealed how many people had tried to replicate the car. Comment sections filled with, "I built one of these" stories. Photos of amateur attempts. Some good, some terrible, all trying to capture that specific insanity. The Volo auction became part of the legend, another chapter in the continuing story of the wildest Corvette ever filmed. Number 1. Junkyard to Econ arc. Here's the ultimate weird fact about Kenny's custom Vette. Its entire existence is about transformation, from literal junk to pop culture icon. The perfect metaphor for the American dream filtered through fiberglass and metal flake paint started as a wreck, a write-off, scrap metal with a VIN number, something nobody wanted, insurance company trash, destined for the crusher. Then Hollywood called, then Dick Corks got creative, then Mark Hamill climbed behind that wrong side steering wheel, and everything changed. This junked 73 Corvette became something nobody could ignore. Love it or hate it, you had to look, had to form an opinion, had to react. It went from worthless to priceless, from forgotten to unforgettable, from trash to treasure. The transformation was complete, absolute, irreversible. The car represents something bigger than custom bodywork. It's about potential, about seeing possibility where others see garbage, about creating something from nothing. That's very American, very Hollywood, very Corvette Summer. 50 years later, we're still talking about a car that should have been crushed in 1977. Instead, it became immortal, achieved a fame that pristine, numbers-matching Corvettes will never know, because it dared to be different, dared to be wrong, dared to be absolutely, unapologetically insane. And that's 20 weird facts about Kenny's custom Corvette from Corvette Summer. A car that proved sometimes the best art comes from the worst starting points, and that breaking every rule in the book might just make you unforgettable. From junkyard rescue to museum molds, from motorcycle steering chains to Australian adventures, this wild custom challenged everything we thought we knew about America's sports car. What's your take on this polarizing machine? Love it or hate it? Let us know in the comments below, and tell us what other movie cars deserve the deep dive treatment. Smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next venture into Hollywood's wildest rides. Thanks for going on this strange trip with us, and we'll see you next time when we uncover more automotive insanity from the silver screen.